A lot of people, when they ask those questions, they're speaking with someone who really is wanting their own, they have their own prerogative at the end of the day, right? Here's the reality. Yes, do I make money when you purchase a home? Absolutely. But the reality is that being, prior Air Force officer, I do tend to operate with a specific level of integrity, which means that I ultimately want you to be happy. My goal, job, role is to give you and lay out your options, tell you what your choices are, and encourage you to then make the decision that feels the best for you. I operate with no pressure. My hope is that I can explain and give you information that allows you to make a decision that is best for you, best for your family, best for your life. And the reality is that I would actually say probably about 15% of the people that reach out to me, the initial conversation that we have is that it probably does make sense for you to rent for another year or two, depending on your circumstance, depending on what you want to buy, depending on the down payment that you need to save up, depending on, what your monthly budget is and what you're looking to do. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't get to experience or interact with somebody in a way that is authentic and that allows you to make the decision that's best for you. So number one, the first thing that we'll always do is I will be able to quickly run numbers and tell you, based on what you want to spend per month in the location that you are wanting to purchase in, here is a realistic purchase price that will allow you to accomplish that. As a side note, I will say this, interest rate gets it's very demonized because of just like the news and everything that goes on. But here's the reality. Your property taxes and home insurance where you are looking to purchase can make a massive difference on affordability. Just as an example, people who purchase, let's say in Alabama, are going to pay a wildly lower property tax amount than people who purchase in, let's say, New Jersey. So even though you may purchase literally a home for the same exact price point, the person in Alabama is going to have a much lower monthly payment than the person in New Jersey. I say that depends obviously also on the home insurance and where specifically you live. But I have two clients right now, literally one lives in Alabama, one lives in New Jersey. They are buying a home for the same exact price point. Monthly payment is a very different price point, monthly payment because of that. So what I will give you is based on all of that. So based on the estimate of the property taxes, based on the estimate of the home insurance, and based on the estimate of the actual loan amount, what is going to then be your total monthly payment? And then what can you purchase based on that being your goal? And we run numbers. Sometimes I give people numbers and they go, holy crap, like that's way more realistic than I thought. And then sometimes I run numbers and people go, holy shit, that's like not going to work. And that's going to that could buy me like a shed, right? And the truth though, is that you don't know until you know, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of the time, people have a huge fear of asking questions, having a conversation because you feel either A, judged or B, pressured, right? It's why car salesmen have such a bad reputation, right? Because you feel pressured, you feel pushed. And unfortunately, I work with so many people and the feedback is like, oh my God, you made this so easy. Like, thank you for just giving me this information. And I don't know, like I'm lucky enough and very blessed enough that I have so many people who want to buy a home that I can very authentically give my honest opinion to people and not push people into making a decision that doesn't feel right for them. Another thing, depending on what kind of decision maker you are, I do have access to a few calculators where we can even plug in a buy versus rent calculator based on the zip code that you want to buy in. And it will literally tell us if it actually is a smart investment. I ran this calculation a few times and it's not. We look at it and actually the price point that they want to buy at compared to the rent. I mean, it's for some people, it doesn't make sense. And again, that's fine. I think that too many people want to push their own narrative, want to, really try to shove someone into doing something that doesn't feel good. And that's just not how I operate. But what I am a big believer in is you knowing what your choices are. So many people don't actually think that they can buy a home because getting that information feels really overwhelming, really scary, and it feels intimidating. And so people just don't ask any questions. My goal on this app, literally the whole reason I'm here, is to make this feel more approachable, make this feel more achievable, make this not feel so damn scary, because the reality is that, a lot of people, they do want to own a home. They do want to have something that's theirs. They do want to be able to call it theirs. And maybe that's not you. And if that's not you, that's totally fine. But if that is you, and you're really just kind of intimidated and afraid in the process, the best way to run things is this. So many people, they also always start with a real estate agent, why this is a thing. It's because people like me don't know how to show up like this and give you information. But when you start with an agent, an agent can't run the numbers like I can. That's not what they do. That's not their specialty. So a lot of people start with an agent and it's just the ass backwards way to do things. What you really should do is start with someone like me. Start with a mortgage professional, finance professional who can look at your information. I can look and I can tell you, this is what's possible. This is what's realistic. I can give you that information. At that point, if you then look at those numbers and you decide, oh, okay, like this is actually feasible for us. You can then decide if you want to continue forward, if you want to look at homes, if you want to get a full pre-approval, if you want to move forward in the home buying process. You can also look at that information and say, okay, we need 6 months, we need 12 months, we need 18 months. That's fine too. What starts this whole process is you chatting with somebody who can run the numbers for you, your personalized numbers, to create a plan to then figure out what is and what is not possible. So this is a just welcome and open invitation that if you want to buy a house, you think you want to buy a house, but you're scared, you're intimidated, you don't want to feel pressured into making a decision, I would love to be able to support you. Again, I run personal numbers every day for lots of people. And then at that point, they then tell me if they want to move forward, what they want to do. We can run a buy versus rent analysis, again, depending on where you live. We can do all sorts of things that will allow you to gather the right information to then make a decision on if purchasing a home is actually something that you want to move forward with. So with that said, the best way to kick this off and to have a conversation, link on my profile has a few different options that you can select from. I would head there, click the one that seems to be most aligned with what your goals are, and then I will actually reach out to you directly to then have a conversation. My DMs are always open, but I will say they get kind of crazy. And so really the best way to get a hold of me or to connect is go link on my profile, click the option that works best for you. If you have any immediate questions, comments are always open. And again, you deserve to speak with someone and to just know what your options are without feeling pressured to move forward when you don't feel ready. Home buying is a massive decision. It's a huge milestone and goal for a lot of people. And it shouldn't be something that you feel rushed in, that you feel pressured in, that you feel uncomfortable in, that you don't feel like you understand what's happening. And again, the way that you really mitigate all of those things from happening to you is you work with someone who can give you your options, explain your choices, explain where you are, and then you make the right decision for you. Okay, only you can actually make that choice. But the way you can make the choice is to even know what your options and what your choices are. All right, I'm off my soapbox for the night. I love you guys greatly. See you soon.